From a Guinness World Record-breaking cigar measuring 90 meters, one for each year of his life, to photo exhibits and documentaries, Cuba is paying tribute to Fidel Castro. Exactly 10 years after a sudden illness forced him to step down, the man who determined the fortunes of his communist island for nearly half a century is celebrating his 90th birthday, having outlived most of his worst enemies and many of his closest allies. As his trusted photographer and cameraman for 22 years, Roberto Chile was constantly by Castro's side.
This exhibit is inspired by what you see here, a man who did not allow himself to be defeated, and that makes him indispensable, not just for our country, but for world history.
The start of this year's carnival coincides with Fidel Castro's 90th birthday. It was on a night just like this one, also during carnival, that Castro, then 27 years old, launched a bold but failed attack against the Moncada military barracks, marking the start of a revolution that would triumph 6 years later. After declaring himself a communist, Castro became a universal symbol of resistance to the United States, but also of change within his own country.
His legacy is misery. Sure, there have been positive things like education and health, but our country is in bad shape.
Even as Cuba, under his brother Raul, embarks on reforms that includes renewed ties with the United States, Fidel Castro remains a moral and political force for the so-called old guard, opposed to speeding up the pace of change.
Fidel is one of a kind, but we are changing. Slowly but surely, Cuba is changing.
On Saturday, Cubans received a birthday letter from Fidel Castro, thanking everyone for their good wishes and, as usual, criticizing the United States. This as Cuba moves on, profoundly marked by the man who, still in life, is called the historic leader of the revolution. Lucia, Newman, Al Jazeera, Havana.